Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Barry Cunningham does not like Tua. He wants Lamar Jackson. Hey, I'm just playing, but they gonna clip that, Barry. They gonna clip it and put it on Twitter. You're in trouble.
Can I show the hat? You want to bring that?
No. Hey, you keep the I'm good with it, but you keep the problems over there.
Hey, boys and girls. I recently sat down with an interview with TDPhinsTalk. Yeah, that guy. Despite what the cult of Tua may say, TD is actually a nice guy, and he knows his stuff about football. It was a lot of fun, and I'm sure we're going to do more together real soon. Too many people want to judge a book by its cover and never actually take the time to get to know somebody. I got to talk to TD, and when I talked to him, I learned a lot about his perspective on Miami Dolphins football. I have to tell you, with the proliferation of AI and so many of these faceless football channels, it was a breath of fresh air to talk to somebody who actually was on screen with me. I'm tired of seeing 6-month-old highlights being run over some narration by some bot somewhere. Talking to somebody face to face was a complete different perspective. I think you're going to see a lot more of the face-to-face interviews on YouTube because I think people are getting sick of the AI stuff, and I'm pretty sure YouTube's going to be cracking down on it very soon as well. I hope you feel the same way I do because I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a lot more interview type videos, especially here in the off season. We'll take a look at this video with an open mind and let me know what you think.
You don't know this, but a little over a month ago, the people on this channel, they were like kind of flooding the comment section saying, TD, do you know Barry Cunningham? Barry Cunningham. I'm like, Barry, it sounds so familiar. Because as content creators, we don't have all the time in the world to figure out everybody out there. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go check out what you guys are talking about. And the very first video, I had instant respect for the simple fact that I heard a fair, non-biased opinion. It was amazing. It was enlightening. I said, thank you. Thank you. You know, you got people to the left, you got people to the right, but just to hear a fair, unbiased opinion is always refreshing. Because, you know, I'm one of those people, I have prided myself of being objective, but now at this point, I'm kind of like leaning towards one way for the simple fact that there's this cult out here that needs to be dealt with, but we'll get into that later, man.
Got into this. My first video about the Miami Dolphins was May 7th. And I've only been doing it since May 7th. Beautiful. And some of these guys are out there and they've been doing it for years and years. And I said, I'm going to take a different path in how I want to look to do things. I want to do a lot of reactions. I want to talk about the news. I want to go after some of the people in the news that weren't giving Tua and the Dolphins a fair shake, and say, you know, put everybody on an equal path. Put everybody, you know, it's a new season. It's a new coach. There's new players. Let's start fresh. Forget what, you know, Tua had done in the past. Let's start fresh and see what happens. And so that's how I started my channel with it.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I know you get a lot of heat. You've been getting a lot of heat lately from a lot of people for various reasons, and some of them I think that you're just being fair, honestly. Does that affect you know how you run your channel in any way or anything like that?
You know, because here's why. I don't look at it as heat. I look at it as emotion. And I'm getting a lot of emotion, and I will converse with anybody. I will comment with anybody. I will comment on YouTube. I will comment on Twitter. It's when you step over the line and you're not able to converse, when you step over the line and all you want to do is swear at somebody, call them a clown, and you have no substantiation and you're not able to have any reasonable discourse, yeah, you're going to get the block button. I have no value with you, and you have no value with me because you're only there to show me your emotion. You're not there to have any discourse. And so there's no need for you. There's absolutely no need to go further because you've already shown me you can't take that step to say, hey, listen, You've got a perspective. I've got a perspective. Would you like to talk about the perspective? And without going too far, let me just tell you what happened. So we all saw what happened at the beginning of the season. Everything was great. Everything was just balls to the wall. Tua was balling out. The team was doing well. I'm a guy who was always brought up both in my vocational activities, in real estate, and marketing, is you're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as what you brought to the table today. I can't go and talk to clients and say, hey, listen, you got to stick with me because, 7 months ago, I helped you make money. But Barry, you've lost money in the last 4 months. No, don't worry about that. I was one of the top guys in October. So you just keep paying me. But Barry, you're losing us money. No, it doesn't matter. I am the best. I am him. I am he. You got to keep paying me. Real life doesn't work that way. Real life just doesn't work the way. So people say, I can't tell you how many times, it's so sophomoric. Oh, you turned your back on Tua.
Oh, you flip-flop.
You're flip-flop. You're a hater. I'm like, I'm not a flip-flopper. I'm not a hater. I didn't turn my back. He changed.
Oh,
I'm the same guy. Okay, when I was saying, hey, wow, that's a great throw. That was a good call. That was a mistake. That was great. But I don't think people understand. The last 7 games, they were 2-5. I'm not looking to live in the past. I'm looking to live in the present. I don't want to hear people giving me stats from October and November. This is March.
Yeah.
I'm not looking back 7 or 8 months. I'm like, that was great. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hats off. Man, he was killing it. But what have you done for me lately? And I think that's where people thought I flip-flopped. I'm like, no, he just hasn't shown me anything.
See, so, oh my gosh, just you saying it is so revelatory to me. It's like, I know the feeling all too well because I've dealt with it for a few years. Yeah. I don't switch back and forth. I go how he goes. I praise him when it's great. I talk excessively bad when it's bad. That's just me. Like, I've been compared to you. I've been told that I'm the guy who doesn't believe in Tua's long term, but I am very critical of him. And you're the guy that does believe in his long term,
yeah,
but you're still very critical of him. So we're both very critical.
I'm not very critical.
Okay,
I call what I see. I'm looking at the.
That's very critical these days.
I've got the schedule pulled up in front of me. And so forget the nuts out there who just want to talk about October and November. I'm looking at the bye week on November 20th. The bye week happened on November 20th. The next game out the gate was Houston. They went 2-5 the rest of the season. So nobody talks about that 5-game stretch where he did play, but they lost. And so
how he played.
Yeah, if you play 17 games and you lose, you go 2-5 your last group, and you're down to your second and third string quarterback going into the playoffs, that's not good, period. And so there's nothing I can say good. And then what I had said, and this became very problematic. This is when people really got pissed off at me. I said, where is he? Well, and what I meant by that is he's the captain. You are the face of the team, and you were gone.
Well, you're counting the fact that he wasn't there as well.
Only because he wears the C. If he wasn't the captain, that's different. Having been a captain, having seen how captains act, just because you can't play doesn't mean you can't lead. You're still the leader of the team. And I didn't see a leader that last 5 or 6 or 7 weeks. He just wasn't there. And I would point it out. I'm like, where is he? Where's he now?
Let's give him some let's give him some temporary grace on that for a second. And I'll put things into perspective. I think it might even be worse of an outlook, and let me tell you why. You're talking about the last 7, and even if we gave him grace with the leadership, let's talk about just the games he played. Then you're looking at 4?
What, that last stretch, you mean?
Yeah. 1-4.
It looks like he played against Houston. He played against San Francisco in a loss. He played against the Chargers in a loss. He played against Buffalo in a loss. Played half of Green Bay. Yeah.
Well, he played the full Green Bay.
Well, yeah. But
so 1-4, even the way you left off, though.
Yeah. Yes.
So let me ask you, 1-4, what happened?
Well, let's take Green Bay off the table because we have to believe what they told us, or they're telling us we have to believe. And I'm just, I'm telling
what do
this
you
whole,
believe? What do
I believe? I believe that Trent Sherfield gave away the farm when he made that comment last week. I think a lot of people missed that, where he said Tua is going to throw it no matter what, unless you're in that spot. I think, concussion aside, somebody went upstairs and looked at the film and said, bump these receivers, off time them, do whatever you need to do. If you bump him off time, he's not going to be able to make the throw. That's what I think happened. Yeah, it may have been made worse by the concussion. I don't know, but if you go back and look at the passes during there and look what happened to some of the receivers, who knows? Maybe he was concussed, but.
And that's my issue, Barry. The ball is going to come regardless.
Yeah.
J.C. Jackson said it, and after the national championship, the Clemson kid sat on the podium and was like, Tua's going to throw it anyway. I mean, I heard this from 4 different players that he's played against, 2 in college and 2 in the NFL. Yeah. And I keep telling people, when you watch the film, it's actually true. And the issue I have is when other teams play zone coverage and the receivers get a free release, Tua can be the most deadliest guy in the NFL because all he has to do is put it in that spot. The timing works, and they keep on moving, and it's like the best thing on turf.
Well, here's the problem going into 2023, which nobody is talking about. That first half of the season was Mike McDaniels' first half of his career as a head coach. What do you think? Going into, if everyone's talking about Fangio and how much of a genius he is on defense, what do you think coordinators that the Dolphins are going to have to play are doing going into the second season? Yep. They are hitting play, rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind. And they're going to know everything about, they're going to know if he's wiping his butt before he takes the throw. Play, rewind, rewind. Where's his foot? Is he stepping out? Is he stepping in? Is he looking for this? They're going to know everything. So there's no surprises going into 2023. And that's one of the things nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about the mind of defensive coaches being able to sit with film now for 6 or 7 months.
Well, Barry, push it a little deeper and sooner. You're talking about 2023. Who's to say they didn't already figure that out with that 1-4? Yeah. Or should we say 0-4 when it was figured out? Because you saw they got in the lanes, they bumped the receivers, disrupted the timing. I personally feel like the NFL just figured it out. Those teams just figured it out.
And the thing that would help them beat that, because now every single football game is a game of give and take. I have to find out what you're taking away from me and what you're giving me. And so if you're going to give me the running game, because you're going to shut down the best and you're not going to shut them down, but you're going to try your best to shut down Tyreek and Waddle. What are you giving me? You're giving me the running game. And thus far, we got the same running backs coming back, and we have an offensive line built from big lots.
We already know our running game is suspect, but you're supposed to run it if they're going to take away the passing, right? Yeah. But Mike McDaniel is going to pass it anyway. And I think that's one of his flaws, the stubbornness, because he really wants to make Tua a franchise quarterback. And I feel like there were parts of the season where he forced Tua. I mean, I felt like he stat padded sometimes with Tua, because if you look at some of those early games, the game is over, blowout or whatever it is. And we're talking 3 minutes left in the fourth, run the ball, and we're play action, and we're this and that. And it was like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if he was pat statting or he had to use game-like conditions to get everybody acclimated to the offense. And I used to say this during the live broadcast, is they were playing a lot of their early games as though it was practice. And what I mean by that is penalties, communicating the play in. There were so many breakdowns that they were lucky to get by. And I would say it on my broadcast, and I made fun of because I had a Josh Boyer meme tape, and it was like, don't beat yourself. Don't beat yourself. I used to play it all the time because how can you not get the play into the headset? How are you so late communicating that in? And it just kept going. It kept happening the entire season. And, I don't think you can win in 2023 if you don't have your communication down and you don't have a running game to augment a strong passing game. If you're going to rely on this passing game, NFL defenses and NFL players are very, very astute. And you're giving them basically 7 months to look and see, how can I beat you?
Barry, since we're running out of time, I'm going to get to a little tough one here, okay?
All right, here's a tough one.
You believe in Tua's long-term success, okay?
Can I put an asterisk there?
You sure? Because they going to come get you. No, I'll just play it. Go ahead.
I believe in Tua and his long-term success, provided they equip him with an offensive line, because he's not going – there were some runs where he took off, but he's not a Lamar Jackson in terms of taking off out of the pocket. Yeah. He's not Josh Allen. And here's the problem that's coming up. Who knows if the Jets are going to close the deal, but if the Jets close the deal with Aaron Rodgers, you got to play the Jets twice with Aaron Rodgers. Buffalo. You got to play Josh Allen twice with the Bills. And who knows what they're doing in New England. If they get Lamar Jackson, the AFC East is going to be a bear to get through. This is one of the things I've said, is that if you indeed consider Tua your franchise quarterback, if you indeed consider Tua to be the hub that's keeping his team together, why did you not protect him? Yeah. Why did you not go out there and say, you know what, we need the best offensive line possible, spend what we need, we'll work the other stuff out, but we need to protect our golden goose. And you didn't.
Their actions have been very contradictory of their words.
Yeah.
And also I'm on record saying I would have rather a starting caliber left guard and right tackle than Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. The defense didn't play extremely bad last year. And especially if Fangio's got the mindset that everybody says he has, he can elevate the play of the guys you have. Yeah. But you haven't done anything on the offensive line. And this is funny because nobody can debate that. Not the Tua cult, not me, not you. Nobody can debate that this offensive line is up to speed. Everybody knows, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? And, and so if we know, and we're not even in the war room, what are you going to do? How are you going to help Tua? I don't know.
Well,
that was long-winded, but no, I believe in Tua. I think he can be a good quarterback. Do I think he can be a great quarterback? I think he's got the weapons around him to have a great season. And that's the answer to everything everyone has bitched at me about. Is I'm a Dolphins fan. Mm-hmm. Number first, I want the team. I don't care if Tua threw for 95 yards 12 times if the Dolphins won. It's not about his stats. And one of the things I told everybody in one of my videos, there's the most important stat that every NFL player who straps on a helmet, there's only one stat that really matters. Did I win my last game? Mm-hmm. And there's only one player, one team rather, who can say, yeah, we won our last game. Until you can do that,
jeez,
nothing else matters.
Will it make it better or will it hurt his feelings like when we had Fitz?
Dude, I don't know how old you are, but hurting feelings is something that you say to a 12-year-old.
Oh, I know. I know. I intentionally said it. Yeah, but that's the point I'm making. I mean, that's the point. Everybody's like, the people who are arguing was like, y'all doing him wrong. They're messing with his head, and why would you threaten his job by bringing in?
I get paid $23.5 million a year, whether I play or not. And all I need to know is that I need to beat this guy who's standing next to me. And every single guy who's ever strapped on a helmet, they know that the guy in front of you is going to try and take you down. And you're telling somebody 7 months in advance, don't worry about it. You're it. And what do you think that says to the other players on the team? I want to know that I can compete. What happens if no one wants to talk about what happens if you get into preseason or OTAs and Mike White is performing better? You're a head coach.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm saying you're a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to coddle Tua or win a game.
Barry, but we know the answer to that already in this organization.
I can't believe that. I can't accept the fact that you're thinking people think that Mike McDaniel and this organization would rather coddle Tua than win. And there's one reason why.
Mm-hmm.
I have not directly done business with him, but I've done business with his company.
Uh-huh.
I've done business with the Related Group. I worked with people who work hand in hand with Stephen Ross. I've never met him, but I've met some of his SVPs and guys who look at deals. And this man is shrewd. Mm-hmm. He can look at a pro forma. He can look at a statement and say, that right there is where you're trying to screw me. And there's no way he's sitting back and saying, yeah, go ahead, put my $1 billion investment on the line because you like this guy. Put my $1 billion business on the line because you don't want to hurt his feelings.
Well, consider this, though. I'm with you from a logical standpoint.
Yeah.
That's just like his rookie year. Fitz should have just went ahead and played the whole season.
Yeah, I was in our suite because the guys I work with have a suite, and I was there at the first game he ran on the field. Place was electric. It was lit up. I mean, it was during the COVID thing, so there wasn't a full season there. I mean, full crowd. But I was there, and I was excited. I was like, "This is it. This is time. It is Tua time," and that excitement was something I think we all looked forward to. Then you got this season. We had it, but again, the bottom dropped out. Somebody posted today, well, you know, Tua is the best QBR rating and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, did he win his last game? Because that's all that matters to me.
You probably making some people mad with that one.
Oh, they all get mad. But like I said, I'll converse with people. I told a couple of people I was going to go on with you. Oh, no, if you do that, people will hate you. And I'm like, so? I have to answer to my wife and my children and my grandkids, and that's it. And you know, if you don't want to watch my stuff or they don't want to watch your stuff, don't freaking watch.
I think in today's world, people want you to feel some type of pain when they don't like you. Like something has to happen to you to make me feel good about not liking you. It's crazy to me.
Haven't seen anything that shows it's going to be different. And people will say in my videos or comments, hey, they don't need to show you anything. Okay. Well, if they don't need to show me anything, then I don't need to talk them up yet.
Thank you.
Come OTAs and I start seeing, I haven't seen him throw a pass. I haven't seen Tua throw a pass since, let me look at the calendar here.
Good point.
December 25. I have not seen him run. I have not seen him do anything. I saw Deshaun Watson squatting 400 pounds.
I saw him before you, Barry. I saw him enjoying his birthday party.
I hope you don't dance like that, man. Franchise tag Mike Gesicki, and then you didn't use him. And then he just walked. What, as a coach and a GM, if he didn't fit into your system in July, why didn't you just let him walk then? And
or trade him. Why he has value? Because that was his peak of his value.
Yeah, and you just kept him and couldn't find a way as a coach. You couldn't find a way to keep him in the offense and keep him viable. Okay, so now you're up at Penn State looking at third-round draft picks that you're hoping, you know, maybe this guy Eric Sauber. But I just feel like they're putting Band-Aids in place instead of going for the gusto. I mean, basically, I don't know if people are look at contracts, but if they don't do something huge, I don't mean just make the playoffs. If they don't do something huge this year, what do you think this team is going to look like in 2024.
Yeah.
You think all these guys are going to hang around?
But you're stuck. You're stuck with certain guys that could be the reason why you want to that it didn't work.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue. Now, Barry, I made a 30-second clip about a year ago.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm about to play the clip for you. Okay.
Okay. Let me look.
You know, my haters said that I was trying to make fun of Tua, but I actually wasn't trying to make fun of Tua. I was trying to make fun of the situation that the Dolphins are in.
Okay.
And it's going to hit home when you watch it. Listen to the words. And my question to you after you watch it, why in the heck is this the same issue going into this season?
Okay, good. But yeah. And let her do this yet. Okay. So it's not like you staged it. I haven't seen it.
No, you haven't. All right.
All right, baby, this is my last chance this year. Got to get it right. Got to get over that Jesse Davis PTSD. Here we go. Whew. All right. Fake the handoff. I got Armstead over there. Okay, I should be good. Whew, man. Total difference. All right, let's do this. All right, Eichenberg just messed up, but I can still overcome that by taking the go route. Okay. Can't trust Eichenberg or Jackson. Okay.
This was a year ago.
Oh my God.
I made that a year ago, and here we are the very next season, and you can't trust Eichenberg or Jackson.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, this is where the whole hater thing comes in, where these guys consider hater talking bad about them. There's nothing I want more is to be able to go down to a suite, hang out, and watch the Miami Dolphins win and win big and get into the playoffs. Nothing would make me feel better. I don't do YouTube. I don't live on YouTube. It's not because I'm hoping to make a ton of money on YouTube. I do it because it's fun. And that guy, I saw there's some guy gave you a hard time one of your posts, and he said, it's easy what we do.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, you don't even know what you don't know. You don't know what you have to set up. You don't know I couldn't find my earbud, so I had to plug in so I could hear tonight. You don't even know the amount of equipment that I'm sure you have, that Dudley Do-Wrong has. You don't even know what we've assembled to do what we do.
Exactly.
Then you got to do the editing. Then you got to do all the marketing of it and everything else. And you think this stuff is easy? Go for it. If you think I suck, if you think TD sucks, if you think we're clowns, fine. Instead of spending your energy posting, hey, you guys are clowns, go do it. You could just compete with us, beat us. I know there's a certain segment of people that will dislike every single video I put out because they're hoping to downgrade it or delist it like they do on Reddit and stuff. But what they don't know, and I told somebody, is I still have a 95% approval rate.
Yes,
no matter what you guys do, it doesn't really matter. There are people who aren't vocal on Twitter who still want to hear reasonable talk. Reasonable people want to hear reasonable discussion. They don't want to hear, oh, you're a fucking clown. I'm sorry. You're a clown. You're this, you're that. Dude, it doesn't matter.
And they also don't want to be lied to and always making everything positive even when it's not.
I can't talk about stats from October. It doesn't mean anything. And so now the video I'm doing tomorrow is about the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC if Aaron Rodgers gets in. And I'm sure some people are going to get pissed off because Tua is not even mentioned. Why do you think Tua is not mentioned?
He should be Uno. Uno.
Why do you think nobody talks about him? And not to take up too much more of your time, there was something I said during Super Bowl week. And I said when he blew off those interviews, and you can go back and watch the video. I said when he blew off those interviews, he's invited the deluge of pain. Because these people, even though you don't like them, even though you think they're trash and they're garbage people, they have audiences. They have audiences bigger than mine, audiences bigger than yours. And all they have to do is just keep talking about Tua because, it's easy to talk about, and it's easy for these guys to get views and everything else. Yep. And you've got nothing but time because you can't refute any of it.
None.
And that's where the problem is because OTAs don't start for another 2 months. And so by the time we see him in a red jersey, and by the time he steps out there and puts his helmet on and runs out there in the red jersey and starts throwing, it would have been 6 months. And I'm telling you, if he steps out there in the OTAs and doesn't just completely ball out, it's going to be a long summer. I guarantee you. And some people.
Do you believe in this jiu-jitsu improving the falling? I'm leaving it alone, but I just want your take because I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. But the people keep just telling me I'm uneducated in the matter.
So let me tell you something. When I was a kid in high school, my parents were talked into putting me into Taekwondo because at that point I wanted to learn how to use my hands to get people off of me, to shield and do different things. And I was 12 and 13, and it took time to even learn the mechanics of it. And I was going 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to these classes. I found out later it was to get me out of the house because I was a knucklehead. But what are you going to learn if you walk in the first day with your gi on, with your white belt? You know what the first thing they show you how to do? It isn't that they can't just start to show you how to fall. Somebody has to throw you. So you're telling me a $23.5 million quarterback, you got somebody out there throwing him, hoping that he falls on the mat and everything else. Is that what you're telling me? You got a 23.
Barry, I told people, I said, do you realize if you take this class or whatever, you actually have to fall to learn how to fall? Now, what are they doing? Doing it in slow-mo or something? And then I said, have anybody in his corner considered the fact he has a possibility of getting concussed, trying not to get concussed? That gives him a possibility of getting concussed, training on how not to get concussed.
Let's see. Well, the problem what you're saying there, and this is where I really battle with the fan base, is they believe every single thing they're told. If someone told you tomorrow that he's progressed and he got his yellow belt, they're like, see, now Tua's a yellow belt. He's making headway. I'm like, how do you know? As I told you, from my political days, you question everything. I mean, look what's going on in the world today. You can't turn on Twitter. Everything is fake. Everything is BS. Unless you're there taking pictures and video and showing it, how do you know what's going on? So, okay, then the alternative is, Barry, you think they're lying. Oh, no, coaches never lie. No, no, never. They always tell you exactly what they're going to do. And if that's the case, I would take you back to the December 26th press conference when Chris Greer and Mike McDaniels sat down at the press conference and said that Josh Boyer and the defense did a good job. Mm-hmm. That's it. He looked right in the camera. Reporter asked him, so what do you think about defense? I'm very proud of how the defense played. And, boom, get the hell out of here.
That's why I say to people, I'll never put nothing in the past the Dolphins. I personally believe Tua will be our quarterback this year, no questions about it. But I still don't rule out a trade. And why do I say that?
Trading him?
Yeah. I mean, Barry Tunsil's 5th-year option was picked up and he was traded.
No, they're not going to trade him. You know
why?
Well,
I don't believe they will. But what I'm saying to you is, what if Baltimore says, I'll take Tua?
So I got to run, but I got to ask you a question. This really pisses people off, okay?
Uh-oh.
I love it. So Aaron Rodgers, comes out and they said that he actually wanted to come to Miami. So you said, no, he's 39, Aaron. It's not going to work down here. We don't have $50 million we can pay you. Go up to New York and, take them for a ride. You don't think if Lamar Jackson's mama has called up and said, we live here, what are you going to do for us? You don't think they'll take that phone call?
I know. What do you think? I know they will.
You know why? Because it's you have to evaluate what it means to the team. There's a number somewhere. I don't know where it is. I hear Stephen A. screaming about it. I hear this person. No one's going to get what Deshaun Jackson got. That $230 million, that's off the table. But once you get closer to that number,
200,
there's going to be people wondering. And everyone keeps saying, well, it requires 2 first-round draft picks. No, it doesn't.
No, not at all.
No, if you cut a deal with that team, you can cut a deal.
Yep.
Lamar is going to be the one who says, "Yeah, I'll go. I'll play for X amount
It's
of
where
dollars."
he wants to go.
And
Yep.
Baltimore will say, "What are you giving me?" Well, we can give you X amount, and we can give you this player and this draft pick. It doesn't have to be. It's not mandated that it's too. Yeah,
because he can sign the tender, and he's Baltimore's for 33, and then they could just do a regular trade.
they can do a trade after that.
People think, we don't have the first. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
As soon as he signs,
what if you trade for a first? Doesn't have to be number 5 or 6.
That too.
What if you trade somebody? I mean, you've got 4 running backs on the roster right now. So what if you traded Gaskin and Williams for the 32nd pick in the first round or something? Something. There's no. It's just like with the salary cap and how money falls out of the sky. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's just to me, it's just funny that we've watched quarterback after quarterback after quarterback get signed, and there's 2 guys who haven't signed yet, Rodgers and Jackson. And why haven't they?
And on top of that, it's like, for me, the only saving grace for neglecting this O-line is to get someone who may be able to manage it a little better. That's the only reason in the back of my head. It would be a shocker to me because I know Tua is starting this year, but I can't rule it out, Barry. I just can't.
No, I can't. You can't, because it's business. I keep trying to tell people that it's business first. Do you have any idea how much money this team is worth and we don't know what Stephen Ross's plans are. Maybe he's like, I want to sell this team and cash out and go build a couple more condo developments or so. You have no idea. So if you ever see the movie North Dallas 40?
No.
You're too young. You need
I'm gonna have to check it out then.
You're gonna have to watch that movie, North Dallas 40.
I'm a movie junkie, so thank you.
There's a part in that movie, and it's like a play on the Dallas Cowboys. When the guys get in the locker room, and John Matuzak, who used to play for the Raiders, he says a classic line. I'll close with this. He goes, "Every time I call it a game, you chicken shit MFers call it a business. Every time I call it a business, you chicken shit MFers call it a game." Which is it?
You never know.
You never know.
It's gonna be either or. It's gonna be the opposite of what you call.
Yeah, it's a business. At the end of everything, millions and gazillions of dollars and everything, it's about a business. And you got these teams right now that are, cutting down rosters because they're looking to save and rebuild and everything else. The Dolphins have a very, very short window. I don't know if people are thinking about that, but you don't have a 5-year timeline here. You got 2 years most before they start dismantling and building over again. And so it's a team built to win now.
Yes.
And if your franchise quarterback who's QB1
do you want to put it on that?
What do you do?
I don't even understand how you could take that chance now. Because say he does get hurt this year and you found out, okay, he's not the guy. Now you're stuck to the following year, and he has 0 trade value now.
Yeah. And so I told a couple of people, I said in closing, my wife beeping me, is this. My thing with it is you buy automobile insurance before you get in a car accident. You buy life insurance before you die so that everybody else on your team is taken care of. Right now, this team is playing with no life insurance.
None.
There's no insurance.
Who's left? Guess who's left to deal with the tab? All of us fans, but our fan base for some reason seem not to care and just want to go blind into it.
They don't care. And if you look at it from a business mentality, and if every single one of us has car insurance and most of us have life insurance because we want to take care of things in case something happens. And so what I've begun asking people over and over in comments, what do we do if he gets hurt? Oh, you don't want to talk negative. No, that's not talking negatively. You buy insurance because you have to be a realist and say, hey, I know something could happen. And I'm not even somebody who's had 2 or 3 accidents. We're dealing with someone who's had 2 or 3 accidents, and you're not insuring in case something happens with him. You're hoping. I mean, like some people, Mike White could step in. Okay, see how that works.
Well, he's the same thing. Look at when he gets hurt. So The same history. I know you got to go, Barry.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, because there's a lot more of that to come. Real people, real talk. And maybe we'll even do a call-in show in the very near future. There's a novel thought. Nobody has done a call-in show. So let me know in the comments what you think about that recent podcast with TDPhinsTalk. I'm sure some of you are going to flame me and some of you are going to flame him, but I really hope, and I think that there's a serious core audience out there who's tired of the cultish stuff and would just like to talk football and hear things from a more prescient perspective, I'd say. Let me know what you think. Talk to you soon. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?